10 eyes.
Yes, Chisom Adoba. My name is Chisom Adoba.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're a
Okay.
poet.
Yes, I am.
You almost said it. All right, we also have a handsome gentleman in the house.
Yes, good morning. My name is Mokabia Ifeanyi John. Yeah.
So I can call you Chisom.
Yes.
And I can call you Ifeanyi.
Yes.
Please, let's start from the Beningi, Genesis 1. So now, how did you know, a lot of us, while growing up, wanted to be a medical doctor, wanted to be a lawyer. In fact, nobody actually wanted to be a nurse. You know? Everybody wants to be a doctor. So while growing up, have you always had this urge to be a poet?
Okay. While growing up, I didn't really know what it means like to be a poet and everything, but I started writing when I was in GSS1, when I was 10 years old. So then I wrote creatively, wrote stories and wrote things like that, but I didn't really know like the rudiments of writing a poem. But I still learned when I got to like SS1, when we started preparing for our exams, reading works of other poets. That was when I started learning. Then I knew I really loved writing and I kept on writing.
So it was just about writing for you in the beginning?
Yes.
Just writing?
Yes, expressing myself creatively.
So at what point did you now decide that it has to be poems?
Okay, when I was in university, because I just graduated a few months ago. So when I was in school, we learned so much. I actually got it from the Department of English Language and Literature. Yes, so we learned so much about poetry and we read so much. So these things helped me to know more about poetry. And then I knew that, man, I'm going to do this because I love it.
Before we go to Ifeanyi, I would still want to ask you, you're taking English and literary studies in the university. Was it as a choice of what you wanted to be or jam? Yes.
Okay. Before I got into school, because I actually got into school when I finished immediately, I didn't really know that there was a course like that, actually.
Oh my God.
I'm serious. But I was writing. Okay, but I didn't really know. But I knew about courses like law, because I wanted to actually study law. But I knew I would still have to write. So when I got in and I was given that course, I was like, then I found out that, man, maybe that's God's will and that's how it's meant to be.
Okay. So to you, Ifeanyi, at what point did you start expressing yourself through poems?
Well, actually, it started when I was in SS2. Then I left the eastern part to go to the north, where I joined some group of people. And over there, you know, as children growing up, you always have this idea of being a professional, maybe a medical doctor, or a lawyer, you know. So I also had the same dream. But all of a sudden, everything changed because of the kind of people I met when I was in SS2. So because of that, I decided to, you know, start writing because I saw them scribbling. I call that scribbling then because we are scribbling. So we started scribbling. From scribbling, then most of us were able to gain admission in colleges of education. When we tried to get admission in university, it couldn't work. So we decided to go to college of education where I studied.
So far, you've been expressing yourself through poems. What themes do you normally x-ray? Is it usually about things you find around you or you want to cause change in society? What actually drives you when you write?
Yeah, you know, when you want to write, mostly individuals have different inspirations. But mostly, myself, what inspires me most is to try to make impact in the society because I believe that a life lived without any impact is lifeless.
All right.
That's nice. Okay, so how has it been? Meeting someone and said, "Oh, what's up? My name is Ifeanyi. I'm a poet." Like they give you like, what's that? How has it been being a poet in Nigeria?
It has not been easy because getting the right audience in Nigeria is very difficult because the reading culture in our society is dying. In short, it is dead. Well, most of the time you watch, even when you go to social media, you see people write something that is long. Someone you say, it's too long.
Yes, exactly.
So you now imagine when you now write a poem that needs concentration, deep concentration to understand. Because there are some words that are most of the words are figurative. I still remember this. Whenever I want to write, I always tell people that in the olden days, that elderly people don't talk. They don't talk in a simple way. Yes. Yes, have to. And that's why those are saying in an atom, what an atom on
Exactly.
You know?
I remember the words of when he said that inu kandi Igbo ji eli okwu, and it's just like poem also. how they come. Coming to you now, I asked him, how does it feel? You introduce yourself, I'm a poet, not a nurse, not an engineer, not doctor, doctor, this person.
Yeah.
How is it for you in Nigeria?
Okay, for me, it has been quite mixed. I can't say it's very nice and not, because sometimes it depends on the person you meet. Some people are very, wow, you write, I write too, I love writing, I love reading. Not like, really, is that what you want to do? How do you guys make money? Like, poets, you guys, no, you guys don't make money. But it depends on the person you meet. Some people are very receptive, they love it. Why some, no, I don't like poetry. Yeah.
Okay, so now you said, do you guys make money? That's where I want to start, but I'd like to start with you. Because Flavor said to be a man, not be a day job. So now, as a guy, do you look at poets, being a poet, do you see it as something you can use to feed your family? Though I know there are actually some very successful poets in Nigeria, but then you now as a young man growing up in a country where the economy is not so
Rosy.
not so juicy.
And even those ones at the top, we know how they suffered before they got there.
Yeah, we know how they suffer. So now you as a young guy, is it really, do you see yourself feeding your family, your future family, or you already have one now?
No.
Okay, yeah, so it's just simple as such. Okay, so do you actually see yourself feeding your family from this profession?
Well, I believe that it will surely happen. But there is one thing I believe in being a Nigerian, you know. Over there in the white land, you have what we call residence writers, okay? But over here in Nigeria, even the world praise us because they know that for you to be a writer in Nigeria, you must be writing at the same time working.
Doing some other things.
Some of them are most of the writers who have today are lecturers. Like when you talk about Wole Soyinka, you talk about Niyo Sundari. They are all lecturers in universities and they're also writing. So they don't take writing as something that they used to see.
Yes, more of a hobby.
So they just want to.
So to you, is it going to be a hobby or is something you want to dive into? Like, give my whole life and soul to this.
I can't give my whole life to it because it can't feed me the way I know that as a Nigerian.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear. It won't feed you. Are you? She actually put the question when she said people will ask, are you going to make money? Do you guys make money? I'm happy you said it. You guys don't really make money. So how is it you now as should I ask you that? Because most young ladies, we all know that. We don't really
There's an exception here.
It's an exception. That's why I don't want you to make that generation. Because I will see you as a man.
All right, so go ahead. Tell me how you plan to feed yourself and your future family with this career.
Okay. Actually, no, I write, but I do other things too. I write freelancely. I write for people. They pay me. I'm also a journalist and an entrepreneur too. But poetry is something I love. So I believe that with time, like I write already, with time, we could be able to push it more. You know, you could come into publishing, you could come into speaking to people. Like yesterday, D.K. Chukwumerije was in Anambra State University. Like he's one of the foremost spoken word artists in Nigeria. So with time, you keep getting out there with constant practice and knowing that I'm writing because I love it, not because I want to make money, but because I love what I'm doing.
Okay, now coming to that, mentioning Chukwumerije, he talked about using poem for impact in society. Chukwumerije does spoken word.
Yes.
Poem are a little bit more technical than spoken word because spoken word seems to
you have to rhyme it.
Yes, rhyme and talk to
strength.
people based on what they are seeing in that environment. How do you merge this? Especially when you come to the belief that poems are technical, they're high sound, using high sound.
And they require more of an
intellectual person to understand or even get where you are going to. So how do we use this poem to cause national change if it's as technical as it sounds?
Okay, actually there are two types of poems. Like basically there's the page poetry, the one you write on paper, you just read, and then the spoken word poetry, the one that DK does. Okay? That one is quite easier because you have to use simpler words. You have to try to make it, use the word play in words, figurative expressions that are easy for those listening to you to understand, because they won't read it and keep trying to understand. They'll just listen to you. So that's to make it easier. So when you're writing, you write about things happening in the society around you. Maybe you've seen, hey, this thing happening here, like education is going down. Please, not right. You write about it and perform it in front of audience and people that will listen to you. And with time, you keep seeing people changing, because there was a while I wrote a poem a while ago, and someone told me, wow, your poem really touched me. Like she had to say that she almost cried. like reading the poem. So with time, these things, they just take their own course.
If I please, I keep coming back to you because you're the man. So if I want to ask, she said something, she said she writes a lot, so I assume you write, because I believe that anybody that can actually write poems can actually write any other thing very well.
Yeah.
So now, in Nigeria, not just in Nigeria, in the world, music has got so popular that you can make money, enough money to feed your family being a songwriter. What is the difference between you now writing poems and a songwriter out there writing songs? Because I know when it comes to songs, they rhyme.
Yeah.
When it comes to poems, they rhyme. So why would you choose to be a poet when you can be a songwriter?
Well, everything you do in life depends on the passion behind it.
Well, excuse. Have you ever written a song before?
I've not tried because I've not tried going into music.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
All right, now, everything you do in life, as I said initially, is passion-driven. Now, when you have passion for music, you go into it. When you have passion for writing poems, you go into it. Now, there are sometimes you discover that most of the poems you write, or people write, can be adapted into music, just like a prose can be adapted into a play, understand? So, in that situation, that does not mean that every poem should not, that does not mean that a poem cannot be a music. Because it has rhythm.
We have a caller, someone joining us.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Go on.
Okay, both has rhythm. And that's why in poetry, you can't do without rhythm. Because rhythm has to do with the metrical arrangement. How you arrange words in order to what? To make a discernible sound. So it flows. Without that flowing, people will not enjoy it, okay? So that's why even in music, you also have rhythm.
Okay, so first of all, let me ask you one last question before we go into the big thing that is happening, the reason why you guys are here. Who inspires you as a poet? Who's your model?
Okay, not just one person. Okay, the spoken word poem, I admire the Chukwuemeka a lot.
It seems it's trending now.
Yeah, it's doing well. Then Sarah Kay, she's an American poet. I admire her works a lot. Then for Nigerian, like normal page poetry, I love Chike Okoye. He writes native.
He's good.
Yes, he's good too. Then what's his name? Chimalum Nwankwo too. He writes.
Okay, I don't know that one. You, who inspires you?
Okay, in Nigeria, most importantly, I admire one person, very important, and it's Niyo Shundari, because of the fact that he always embark on what we call eco-literature, literature of the environment, what is happening in the environment.
As a poet.
As a poet. You can't leave the cankerworm at home and start fighting an elephant outside. So he is fighting the cankerworm at home.
Apart from fighting the cankerworm at home or dealing with present societal challenge, is there any writing format he does that attracts you?
Yes, his ways of arranging words is always simple, that most times when you look at them, they are picturesque to what you can see. I can see.
All right.
All right, so let's go proper into something happening for the first time in Anambra State. It's called the First Poetry Slam. Now, I take it you guys are the brain behind that, right? So the main reason why we actually brought them to you today, because that's what we do, we bring you breakfast. So the reason why we're dishing out this kind of breakfast is because poetry is something that has come to stay, whether you like it or not. It's something that came all the way from history. It has always been there, and it's still always going to be there, because music is a language of the soul. So we are having the first poetry slam in Anambra State. Spoken words poetry, word battle, music, and loads of other things. But then I'm not going to be the one talking about it. Chisom, go ahead. Just tell us what this event is all about.
Okay. Today we'll be having the first poetry slam in Anambra State, and this event would encompass spoken word poetry competition, where spoken word artists and poets would come up on stage and compete amongst themselves with their words and their poems. And it's also encompass music and arts and so much more. This is made possible because we want poets to know that Anambra State, like the East, can still achieve so much when it comes to creativity. Because most poets will just leave East, run to Lagos, run outside the country, because they believe most people here don't appreciate it. But we want to start building up that culture where people can come and say, wow, I love this, because actually it's very nice and very enjoyable.
So, and being in a state where you have I know we have like, poetry is not really very popular, so I assume we have limited number of poets right here.
Yeah.
How were you able to organize this? Coming up with the idea, how were you able to gather the
And
poets
even
and the spoken words artists to
come
come
to that
up
event.
with this?
Okay, actually, I got the idea one Sunday evening. I spoke to my team members, part of Nigeria Aqua Connect Center. They just grabbed it, like they loved it. Someone said, I've been waiting for this, like for about 5 years, I've been in Noka. So they just loved this, and I sent it online, social media, because social media is very, very powerful. People like appreciated it so much. They said, wow, I love this. So people started sharing it, talking about it, and with time we started reaching out to people to sponsor and everything. Even though it was not really that much, because most people don't appreciate poetry, but at least people still had to like come out from this.
All right, so please, can you tell me about the event properly, venue, time? What do I need to have to be qualified?
All right, there is nothing much you need to have before coming to the event. The venue, let me start from the venue. The venue is Unizik University FM Hall. That is where it will be happening. There is no gate fee, because you know that we Nigerians, we always say no gate fee. The time is 12 p.m. at dot. We don't add African time or Nigerian time. There is nothing like that.
So we're expecting to have the best of poetry at that point. What are the themes we're expecting to explore? What are the things you feel people will be using their poems to do at the event?
Okay, we don't have any restricted team actually, but people will talk about what's happening in Nigeria, like next year election. People will certainly talk about it. People will talk about education. People will talk about family. I'm sure people will talk about love. People will talk about anything.
Oh, love, they will.
Let's take a caller to join us. And hello. Hello, good morning. Good morning. I'm fine. Your name and where you're calling us from? Hello.
Hello.
Please, you call us back.
Please, you call us back. Chisom, I want to ask if I want to come and battle, because obviously it's going to be a battle, and I love anything talking. I do. Now, if I want to come and battle, let me say in the spoken words aspect, am I qualified, or is it too late for me?
No, it's not.
Oh, really?
Not too late. Once you're there early enough to register, write your name and tell us what you're going to do. Because we don't want to make it restricted. Because some people would be coming from different places today, so we don't want to say, okay, once you have not registered, you can't do it. You can just come early, but you have to be early, at least by 11:30 before 12.
You're there. Okay, now let me ask. Some of us, or some younger people who might be watching, or other people who have some things to express through poem, but maybe due to time or laziness or other reasons haven't been able to develop themselves. How do they begin this journey of being a poet? How would they do that? What are they expected to do to develop themselves in this art?
Okay, first of all, the passion has to be there. Because if passion is not there, it will die off. So passion has to be there first. Then you can have a coach, someone that's there already, that would help coach you. You could start reading works of other writers. Then you have to write regularly. Because as you're practicing, you keep getting better. You see your mistakes, you write a better one tomorrow. Then you give out to people to look at it. Then you keep reading more about poetry. Then with time, you get better.
Okay, is there any language restriction? Because there are actually a lot of people who do poems, but then they don't do it in English.
Okay, actually, for the competition, it has to be in English so that everyone will be on the same level. But for the performances, you could do it in Pidgin, you could do it in Igbo language, yes. But for the competition, it has to be in English so that everyone
let me
will be
get
on
it.
the same level.
The performances is different, but then the battle is different. Is there a prize at the end of the day?
Yes, cash and book prizes. Like cash prizes of up to 15,000 naira.
Wow.
Then too many books to be given out today.
Okay, so your last word.
Oh.
And I want you to use this opportunity to actually look into the cameras and tell the viewer watching us right now to convince the viewer that today is actually a day to look out for.
Okay, so I would want you to be there today, Unizik FM Hall by 12 noon today. I promise you, you've not seen something like this before. It's going to be wow. You're going to be wowed today. It's going to be amazing, and it's going to be worth your while. So be there.
All right.
So if I you.
Well, the people you've heard, you see, we have so many packages. Aside this, there are some hidden packages that you've not seen. I just wish you could come there. Just come there and see for yourself. Come there. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
It's been an exciting one having Chusemo Doba, lead representative poets in Nigeria, joining us this morning as we look at the life of a poet in Nigeria. And Mr. Ifeanyi Nwokabe, right?
Yeah.
For also joining us. Thank you very much for coming on
for
time.
having us.
At least your attendance this morning tells me that at Unity FM you also be keeping on time.
Yes,
Yes, that's
exactly.
wonderful having you guys as we looked at that issue. If you want to be a poet, start something today, write regularly as you said, and the sky will be your starting point.
All right, so from me, do not underestimate any profession. You can actually make it out of any profession. You don't really have to think about the money first. No profession brings you money from the start. So you can actually go to Unizik FM Hall today, 12 noon, and challenge yourself intellectually. You might learn something. You might actually discover your dreams. This is what we'll be calling it a short on this particular segment of the weekend show. But don't forget, the show continues with the breakfast news with David Omokwasile. Just stay with us.